Rugrats is my favorite animated show of all time. Every time I watch it, revisit it, or think about it, it makes me realize how unique this show was. Most shows have a feeling like there's a clear motivation to tell heartwarming stories or be action shows and whatnot, but I can't say that about Rugrats. It's a show about babies and the creators who had children reflecting on what it was like to be a baby, as well as being a fresh parent. What followed is a show that had its share of fun, silly, crazy, and even reflective episodes that makes it enjoyable even today. Hence why I thought it would be fun to make the occasional episode recap for any random episode I feel is worth talking about. A good episode to start these recaps would be the bizarre time when Tommy's dad gets knocked into thinking he's a baby.
Hi, I'm Stewie. Who are you?
Early on in its first few seasons, the show was still trying to find its style, which led to some pretty wacky concepts like time travel, space adventures, and yeah, having one of the grown-ups communicate with the babies. Which at this point in the show and even the rest of the series was something they never did. What if an adult was going on adventures with Tommy, Chucky, Phil, and Lil? Yeah, Angelica's absent from this episode, which I think we can all be grateful for. The episode that followed this one is called Garage Day, which is a good episode as well, but doesn't really give that much for me to talk about. So granted, as each episode starts, there's always an interesting montage of a normal thing being skewed to seem like something epic or off the wall. This time, we see Dee's cookies from the perspective of the surface looking like a fiery explosion, with people's screams heard in the background. Pan out to Grandpa trying to sneak a cookie in, despite not knowing the truth that he'll be responsible for the death of millions who dwell the surface of these carob tofu clusters.
Leave those carob tofu clusters alone!
Yeah, it's a tofu cookie. Even as a self-proclaimed fan of tofu, that's going too far, Dee. Kicked out of the kitchen, Grandpa goes into his usual spiels of what it was like in my day. That's become a cliche for anybody who's seen this show long enough. Knowing how much Grandpa talks about his day, I'm surprised he doesn't just take a time machine, stay in the past where he can watch as much lonely space vixens from Mars as he wants. Yeah, I'll probably be talking about that episode too. Cut to Stu showing off his latest invention to Grandpa, which is one of many child endangering products that Stu, the children's toy maker, has concocted. Yeah, I don't even know what this has to do with being a toy. It's a weather vane that does everything except the obvious.
Does it tell you which way the wind's blowing?
I'm working on it. Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up.
Tommy and the gang are watching their dad install the weather vane while also sacrificing Chucky to the baby god of virtue while making claims that the duck knows all.
The duck doesn't want to tell him stuff. Yeah, maybe you gotta fight with him first.
Maybe it's their simple impression of the world around them that makes them think such bold claims, but it's probably because A, one of them's an actual voice of a duck, and B, having to hear their father make the same scream twice in the same episode.
Baby.
When Stu gets knocked over by the duck, I notice a quick bit of animation that I had to go back and watch in slow motion. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty neat. 3 of those frames would never seem like they would fit one another, but somehow managed to work pretty well. I guess it's to make up for whatever the hell is hanging off of Lil's ear in this scene. I was gonna say that this was part of the style they were going for, melted cheese earlobe, but then the next scene the ear's back to normal, so stop making me question your unique animation style, Rugrats. Stop making me ask these questions. In traditional TV formula, getting a knock to the head results in Stu forgetting who he is, by moving him back mentally to when he was a baby. If only this show would take the route of other shows where we would see the gory consequence of having your head bashed in to the point of amnesia, but I guess that's just my sense of humor.
Oh my god, that's horrific.
Oh, it's cool!
Now Stu talks to the other babies who understand what he's saying and even fashions him a diaper that somehow Tommy and the others knew how to make out of a bedsheet. As I said before, this will be the only time an adult will ever get to understand the language of the babies in this show. Now, one thing that bothers me is how despite other adults not being around due to Grandpa seeing his friend and his wife running errands, I feel they missed a golden opportunity. Imagine how insane it would be for Dee to handle a grown baby. Granted, there's a funny interaction where Dee assumes that Stu is listening to her, but that's about it.
Oh, I know you don't want to spend the money, Stu, but it's just too good a bargain to pass up.
For now, it's shenanigans with Tommy and the others getting Stu to do things like reach for high places, and reach for high places again. And that's it, reaching for high places. That's all they really want him to do is just reach in high places. Oh, and take a shower with the babies.
Tommy, I'm getting wet. What are we doing this?
Good point, Chucky. Now as I watched this episode, it's interesting how the show would have random zooms, low angle shots, pans, and dollies that don't need to happen, but manage to make simple actions like opening a door seem more dynamic.
Not like that, Stewie. First you have to fight the duck or he won't tell you anything.
Fight?
Yeah.
But I'm scared.
I'm kinda scared too. This is like a 2-second random shot of the audience looking up Stu's diaper crotch. After a broken toy results in Stu, or Stewie, having a temper tantrum, Tompy's got the realization that leads to an existential crisis.
Tommy? He's never coming home.
Yeah, imagine if Stu doesn't fix himself by the end of the episode. How different this show would turn out. It would probably be the groundwork of those creepy fetish videos, but then again, this episode probably was already setting the groundworks for that, so I digress. This is actually what gives the episode a bit of heart, where it's Tommy having a talk with Stu on getting to be a parent again, leading to a failed attempt where dressing like an adult will get him to gain the mental capacity of a 30-something-year-old man. Oh, and you got this funny line too.
Take it in the bathroom and don't come out till practically forever.
Of course, it's Tommy who realizes that in order to reverse the effects of amnesia in a cartoon, you'd gotta go back to the source. Defying all reason and logic, Stu gets back on the weather vane and knocks himself back to normal, leading to Dee coming home in shock that her husband is taking foreplay too seriously, and Tommy having the neglectful and irresponsible dad back to letting him go on unsolicited adventures. The end. On a whole, it's not my favorite episode of the show, but I do think it's one of the better episodes that takes a wacky concept like Stu becoming a baby and making it work. As an adult, it's odd how much I start to relate to Stu, mostly in that he's not quite a middle-aged man, but someone who's learning through failure on how to be a parent, much like his inventions. In some ways, it makes sense that if they were to focus on an adult who could talk to the babies, it would be him. And for that, it's an episode I recommend checking out when you get the chance to revisit the show.
Well, okay. I'll try.
Thank you guys for watching this video. This was me trying to do something different. Make sure you subscribe to the channel in case you haven't subscribed before. I'll continue to making Cartoon Palooza reviews, my main series on this channel. And follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, all with the same handle, Joey.T.Cartoon.P. I'll post the links all below. Thank you for watching this video. Like it, do whatever you want, and have a great day. Take care.